A pleasure to meet all at last, and welcome back to Facecam Specials Insurgence, the Enlightening venture, and more importantly, here we go again with some more Fallout Shelter action. Yeah, that's probably going to be happening a lot here, because after all, if you've checked on the emergency stockpile, then well, if that doesn't give you a good baseline on how gigantic Fallout Shelter is going to be as a special, well, add-on for the series, then, well, simply put, this game alone has given me more playability than many others out there. I mean, I've probably stocked on maybe like 90 hours, pretty much. That's a ton of playability that you can get out of a game like this. And this is basically a game that was made for mobile devices. But you could also download it on laptops and the like, because truth is, I've played this game many times on multiple formats, but the console port right here is, well, something different in most ways. It certainly is a pretty good graphical enhancement over the mobile versions as well. The frame rate does seem to be fixed pretty good, and also the clarity of it. It looks to be in high def in a way. So, I guess that's some pretty good news, by all means, because I feel like HD is kind of a necessity in my mind. So, basically speaking, if you're not familiar with Fallout, then well, I'll go ahead and clear it up for you. Fallout is, simply put, one of those games that is centered on nuclear apocalypse. And if you're already not familiar with such live events out there that have happened, like the Holocaust and other sorts of atomic testings that have happened, the atomic age itself is a pretty big time in our history. But such a case like this being turned into a video game really shows that such companies out there really do have some great ideas, probably on paper for the most part. But just looking at this for right now does seem to be very interesting. You're basically in charge of your very own vault, which is capable of holding up to 200 survivors, or dwellers as they're referred to in this game. I don't know what the name survivors, I don't know what the problem with that was, but basically speaking, 200 dwellers have different jobs pretty much. It's your job to basically oversee the action that takes place throughout all the time that you spend inside of a large shelter that you construct yourself. You can basically put things together, including power plants, water treatment facilities, cafeterias, living quarters, storage rooms, as well as gyms, and many other things out there that you could probably build yourself if you had access to as many tools as possible, as many, well, handyman, pretty much. No pressure, but the thing is that, well, this really gives you that sort of feeling of building your very own survival bunker. And I cannot imagine any concept like that in life where you'd actually be able to do something like that. Or this at least gives you the simulation of something that important in life. But the thing is that, well, Fallout ain't even real. So it probably takes a lot more extra effort to really put something like this together. An actual shelter from apocalypse really is something. It's quite a project that many of us could probably clamor together to build ourselves, but I mean, what would be the point in that if you know that the apocalypse itself is not actually coming? Well, the truth is, I myself actually do kind of know that the apocalypse is coming, sooner or later. You don't need to trust me on that, but you also don't really need to take my word for granted about it, because simply put, something that is as serious as an atom bomb dropping down in the middle of this town, I mean, you could really look at it any other way, but this game actually really does give us a good effort at, well, delivering some great content here, because this came out around, well, the same time as Fallout 3 did in late 2015, early 2016. So, basically speaking, although this game is much older than many others, I've played some of the oldest known PS4 titles ever to exist. I've played things like Tomb Raider 2013, Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen, and I've even went ahead to try out a few more pretty much that I might also be doing for GWK in the future. So, expect some of those things to show up, and well, if you can't really get a good grasp on it, then well, no pressure, but that's just kind of what the whole thing is. But here in Fallout Shelter, considering how much time it's basically taken me to play through this whole entire thing to basically get the best potential that I could possibly ever utilize to my advantage here, just to get 200 dwellers in here and pretty much make it like the ultimate goal here, it certainly is just right there. It's probably one of the longest ever titles I might have ever had the chance to play. And I'm pretty grateful for it. There's tons of replay value that you can get, especially considering the many things that you could do in your shelter or otherwise. You can basically interact with each other. You can speed up the process it takes to collect different resources, although that kind of amps up the risk for, well, disaster. And then, of course, you can also send your dwellers on quests, which is actually what's happening right now. So, as you can see right here, this is pretty much what that is going on right now. I'm basically getting pretty close to ending a quest, and as a result of that, I will say that this whole entire quest is going to give you a lot of great stuff here to use. There's tons of caps that you can pick up, there's weapons, there's items of all sorts, there's even new dwellers that you can find and arrange to have them come to your vault to live with you. So, that alone is some pretty enjoyable times right here, but for the most part, something like this sure is, well, quite a load of imagination. But you can basically see right here that I'm doing as good as I could possibly do to try and take out these death claws. Man, are they hard. And these things are probably some of the hardest things out there. And there are a lot of enemies that you can fight against in the Fallout series. From rat roaches, to mole rats, to bloat flies, and yalguais, and tons of others out there. So, that's just kind of what that's all about. And it looks like I am actually getting pretty close to beating this Deathclaw. And okay, it looks like I managed to do it. There's a lunchbox. So okay, it looks like I managed to get all the way through. Let's pick a piece of dialogue here. Okay. Alright, looks like that's that pretty much. Then I gotta go all the way up here pretty much. Even though I've already like finished up with the whole entire quest, I have the option to explore a bit more throughout the building. So that's probably what I'm going to go ahead and do. Pretty much. So, it looks like I'm actually able to finally get this stuff together. And yeah, it looks like the survivor is going to be heading back to the vault, whereas I'm going to be sticking around with my guys here and their pets, pretty much, which give them some additional powers and ability, pretty much. You can get boosts out there, like damage boosts, stamina boosts, and health boosts, pretty much. There's a lot of abilities that pets can give to dwellers if you basically put them together in a certain way. So, basically speaking, I'm probably going to be here for some time exploring the remainder of this entire abandoned building and basically taking out as many enemies as possible, whether it be raiders, roaches, and all that good stuff. So, expect more things like this to happen sooner or later in Facecam Specials Insurgence, the Enlightening Venture, and well, I guess until next time, I will be seeing you.